Hey guys, welcome back to another edition of Tutorials by Pencils by Jim. I'm Beast, aka Pencils by Jim. Like I say, what we're going to cover today are eyes. It's going to be part of our continuing series of tutorials. We're covering the head. We're going to go ahead and look at the portals to the soul today, my friends. What we're going to do is going to cover all the basics first off, right? Construction. Your basics on your eye, right? It's real simple. It's three. Well, really, they're ovals. Some people say circles, but like I said, there's nothing that's perfect on the body. Nothing's really symmetrical, even though people think it is. All right. Remember, these are under pressure. These are orbs that rest inside a socket on the head. Okay, the ball rests right inside, like a big hand. All right. Illustrate the point. Here we go. Our friend Ink's can help out. All right. They rest within this socket, and there's musculature that moves them back and forth and makes them look in the direction. Okay, right here your lens rests actually on top of the main eye structure, which is the big white orb that we all know and associate with the eye. Alright, and in reality it looks like it's part of, it's all one thing, it's all one layer, but it's not. In reality, what you have is the surface of the eye, and then you have what you call the iris. Alright, here's the colored part right there. That's the iris. And the pupil. Alright, and the pupil, think of it like the shutter on a camera. Alright, it click, click, click. Alright, well, your pupil dilates, and it opens up and it closes depending upon the light and the situation, how much you're trying to focus, different things that cause it to move. Alright, and that's the basic construction of the eye. Now, the eyeball itself. Now, you start moving in. Actually, see if I can get a better view on it here for you guys. We're going to move over. See if I can zoom in on it for you. Okay. Now, you see right here, here's a finished eye. Alright, I went ahead and drew out the brow, the indentation. This is where the brow kind of rests over top of the eye. And there's a whole lot of layers here. There's a whole lot of planes that people don't take into account when they're drawing eyes. Okay, I mean, we've got the regular orb, like we talked about before, the white, that's resting within the socket of bone there in the skull, but on top of that, we've got a layer of muscle, layer of fat, layer of skin, the hair, you've got the lids that rest over top of the eye. Okay, the lashes on top of that. So there's a whole lot of things going on with that eye that you need to take into account that cause shadows, that affect light, that affect the way it looks. There's all sorts of things happening right there. Okay, one of the things that people don't take into account when they're drawing eyes is light. Okay, you'll see a lot of people that are, make a little circle that shows, okay, well, there's light reflecting on it. All right, the way light really affects it is it's like a cone. Okay, really, if you're going to draw reflected light, there's usually a large pool followed by a small pool later on, and if you connected the lines in perspective with those two circles or ovals, you're going to end up with a cone shape, and that's basically how the light is reflecting off of that eye. Okay, I mean, that really does a lot for the image, right? You think of it like this pencil, okay? As you look at it in perspective, this end looks larger, and it progresses down the shaft and starts to look smaller as it goes further away, right? Same thing with the light. If you look at these two, alright, here's the smaller and the larger. This eye is drawn in perspective. Alright, it's a cone shape. And you've got to remember, this is an orb, so there's light that reflects off of it as well. Okay, hence the line that goes across the eye. If you really look at it, there is lighter and darker parts of the eye. No eye is actually 100% white. That's another big problem. When you're coloring eyes, don't make it, this brilliant bright white unless you're talking about, like, some characters wearing a mask, and then they've got, white eye slits. I'm not going to name names on that. But your average eye usually has a little bit of yellow in it, has a little bit of red in it, especially like here, if you can see, there's a little bit of veining. Alright, so there's a little bit of red in there, because remember, this is an organ. Alright, there's veins and all sorts of different fluids and things that reside within this. Alright, you've got the lids that fold down over, and they affect the storytelling of the eye. Okay, what the eye emotes, what it shows the person's looking at it. When you're drawing an eye is one of the major units on the face that really shows emotion. We can't hear the person's voice, but we can see what the person looks like when we're drawing a picture. So you've got to kind of use visual cues to show how they feel, okay? An eye like this that's open and wide and bright and reflecting light, it actually seems happier, seems more open, seems more aware. If we were to take this eye here, okay, then all of a sudden we're to lower the lid to down here, alright, and have the rest of the lid come in about right here, alright, it changes the entire mood. Alright, that person's tired or unhappy. Alright, there. Go ahead and fill that in a little bit, and it gives you a little better perspective. Gives it a creepier vibe too. And then when you put in your light and everything else, those lids help to affect the mood of the eyes that you're drawing. Famous artist once said the hardest thing to draw is the second eye, and that's the truth, okay? Because you got to draw them, try to draw them to look similar. But if you're drawing in perspective, you shouldn't have to draw it the same way twice. All right, that eye should be in a completely different part of the head, completely different plane on the perspective. So it's going to look a little bit different. It'll be smaller, be a little further away. So if you're drawing in perspective, you don't have anything to worry about. All right, I only have eyes for you. That's right, guys, I do. These are all for you. I want to show you guys a couple things on here. When you're placing your lids, be aware, okay, if the lid is further up, it gives your eye a certain appearance. Like, say, we lowered the lids on this and squeezed them in, alright? If you go like this and decrease the size of the pupil in relation to the iris, the colored part of the eye, alright, that makes it look more beady, looks more frayed. Alright, a dilated pupil like this, it's really big, the black part of the eye increases, that gives you a different look. Sometimes that can be horror, shock, or, just intensity. Sometimes it's a welling of emotion, like it's ready to cry. You could literally draw this eye like this. Okay, we're going to bring the eye in. This will be the inner eye. Remember, there's a little gland, little duct right there that rests in that corner. And then all of a sudden you got a tear, alright, coming from the outside of the eye. Should be from the outside, shouldn't it? See, I already messed up once for the video. There you go. See, that's why God created erasers. People like me. Alright. See, there's a welling of emotion right there. Tears coming in. So, remember that when you're drawing your eyes. And the light also, create a large circle there, or a small circle there. That'll also influence how your eye looks. Alright, in a larger open eye like that, you're going to have larger portals of light. Okay, so remember that when you're drawing that. It's usually going to cut in on the pupil, and that gives it a more three-dimensional look. The more you cut in, it shows layers, shows dimension. Okay, when you're depicting the iris, don't be afraid to add some lines in there, because really, if you look at the colored part of your eye, there are little lines, or what they call striations, or different things, little pits of color that give it, and there's usually a strong outline around those. Alright. And like I say, there's little veins and little things, and there's usually some light that is kind of reflected with a line across the eye if you really look. And don't forget, you've got the brow of the eye, and that's going to cast shadow like we show right here. There's a little bit of shadow underneath that lid and down here. Alright, that's going to cast a shadow. And underneath here you can depict a light shadow. And like I say, there's an indentation right there for the nose. That's going to give you shadow the underside of the brow, the eyebrow itself, and that's a big tool right there for expression, guys, the eyebrow. Alright, if the eyebrow raises or if it lowers, those eyebrows can make or break your drawing. Okay, if the eyebrows are up, it gives a person a shocked, surprised, or tearful expression, oh my God, think somebody crying when they see somebody they haven't seen in forever that they thought were dead, okay? The eyebrows raise. If the eyebrows lower, it can be a very stern expression or a very sad expression. All right, if you have one eyebrow that's cocked and the other one's kind of low, it can give you kind of a do what expression. Alright, those eyebrows, play with them, get different emotions out of them. Like I said, they're big tools in your arsenal to show emotion and let you give the viewer an idea of what you're going for. Alright, they say there's two big storytellers in a drawing. It's your hands right here. Like I say, you see how I talk with them, I move them when I'm doing things. It's expressive. You can relate to what I'm saying based off what my hands are doing. Alright, because you can't see my face right now, so you're taking cues from my hands. Now, when you have my hands, and you have the eyebrows and the eyes, and the rest of the face, the mouth, the nose, then you get a better idea of what's going on with the person that you're drawing, the character, within any given scene. Alright, so try to remember those are little tips, little tricks to help you guys, make your drawing really pop. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and cut this one short, guys. I went a little bit longer than I wanted to. We may cover some more on eyes later on, but for now I'm going to end this one. Like I say, hit me up on Twitter, Facebook, Tumblr, DeviantArt, Pencils by Jim, guys, and that Pencils by Jim on Twitter. Thanks again. Holler at you guys later. Enjoy. PBJ out.